So this is the ACT Party and what Luxon and ACT got up to today. And Seymour being a little bit pissy, actually, about being questioned about quite a significant issue that they have a lot of candidates running away from them. And we're not entirely sure why, but when he gets questioned on it, he's not very happy about it.
Campaign trail now. The revelation, a fourth ACT candidate has quit, had the party leader fuming when questioned by One News. David Seymour was in Auckland unveiling a regulation policy, while Chris Hipkins put the spotlight on the economy. Here's senior political reporter Benedict Collins.
David Seymour rocking up with excessive regulation.
Got to say, and we talked about that No More Labour Pains was a pretty good chant. The colouring for ACT, the pink, works really well to stand out from billboards. And it's a from a marketing point of view. I mean, they've got the war chest. They've done pretty well with their colours and their branding. I mean, maybe not so much their messaging, but their branding.
Regulations on his mind. Among his targets, nappy cream rules for daycares.
The big issues.
Nappy cream has been subject to some outrageous regulations. At one point, every application had to be recorded.
But he went from cutting red tape to seeing red when we asked about his Waikato candidate, the latest to quit the party.
If that's what you think makes a story,
Well, I mean, your political candidate's leaving does make a story, right?
Yeah.
That is
maybe for you, but if you want to run that story, you go for it.
Why do you think your MPs and your candidates shouldn't be subject to scrutiny?
Well, I actually don't think that.
Multiple ACT candidates have left in recent weeks, some after their COVID-related views came to light.
They're dropping like flies. Are you worried about that?
I'm focused on the National Party.
Look, I just refer you to David Seymour's own comments where he basically said that turmoil within your party list is a sign of turmoil within your party. He probably needs to have a good look in the mirror.
But Chris...
Good line. And this is where we look to Chippy, and we did this the other day when he brought out those pages from Taxpayers Union of Attack ads, and we go, is he leaving his run too late? Is this what we're going to see in the debates? Good line, good comeback, good messaging from Chippy on that.
Chris Hipkins had some reflecting of his own to do today after Willie Jackson got loose with the truth in this raucous debate.
They'll get rid of the minimum wage. They'll put...
get rid of the minimum wage?
They'll lower the minimum wage. They're so selfish. And it goes on and on.
It was a heat of the moment debate, and he said something that wasn't true. And he openly acknowledged that he'd said something that wasn't true.
Labour today, though, was focused on the future. The party revealing its economic playlist. If returned to power, Chris Hipkins would take a trade delegation to India and look to grow exports by investing in technology.
So, big announcement. We'll take a trade delegate to India. Exactly the kind of thing that the opposition's talking about, bureaucrats and wasted money. You know what I mean? Playing into the narrative. It's like, so take a sojourn over there on the taxpayer, will you? I'm not saying that's what it is.
No,
I'm saying
there's a better
that's
way
the
to
narrative,
that, right?
Here's our big idea. We're going to go to India with a bunch of people. Hire us.
There's a better way to pitch that, and you can talk about how much of an emerging market India is, the massive population that it has, the areas of growth for our exports. None of that was hit because none of that was reported.
Yep.
But yeah,
100%.
You're right. It just sounds weak.
It does.
Back in Epsom, Mr. Seymour was still stewing.
It's one of the things that really erodes the trust in journalism and my personal respect for some people is when their priorities are still wrong.
So when reporters ask you about your candidates, you lose trust in journalism?
No, it's not that being asked about the candidates. It's the level of emphasis.
ACT will be hoping it doesn't lose anyone else with the election fast approaching.
Benedict is here with us. We've just seen in your story ACT leader David Seymour. He seems to be feeling the pressure, Benedict.
Well, that's right. I mean, it didn't take long from today to go from talking about nappy cream to spitting the dummy himself. Look, it's the second time in a week that David Seymour has reacted in this way when One News has questioned him about the behaviour of his MPs or about his candidates. And what's interesting to me here is, we ask political leaders tough questions all the time. This isn't anything out of the ordinary. Sure, they might not like answering those questions, but they front up and they do answer them, right? They don't behave, they don't react like David Seymour is at the moment. So that's interesting. But I also think the way the polls are going at the moment, right, there's a very real chance that that David Seymour and multiple ACT Party MPs are going to be around the cabinet table pretty soon, and that is going to bring an enormous amount of scrutiny with it, not less.
A long way to go.
So there you go. So that's the situation around David Seymour. That little double up there with the thing about Willie Jackson as well, Minister Jackson. But the other thing that they didn't quite get to in that story is the idea that they. Oh, sorry, I'm just trying to do two things at once. There we go. The idea that they are doing so well in the polls. Why would Seymour, unless he can't help it, take such a kind of pissy stand? Surely what he wants to be doing at the moment is getting as many, he wants to go from 15% to 16% to 18% to 19%, and kind of being difficult might not help him get there. And I just wondered, he's doing so well, why would he care about almost any headline? We don't know why the person resigned yet. The person resigned for personal reasons. As soon as we have more information, we'll give it to you. But just basically to go, well, that's not a story. Why would you want to run that? It's just, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what it is, unless it's something really massive that we're going to find out about.
Yeah, that's my feeling, and maybe not necessarily about the candidate that's resigned, right? I think this is Seymour being very sensitive about.
He is a sensitive soul.
About why people have resigned from his party.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's there. What was it, a week ago or so, where they went through, or we spoke about it on this show about how fucking many moonbats are on his list that would be getting into the House. And I've said multiple times on this show that I think one of David Seymour's great achievements in the last term is keeping a lid on how crazy some of his candidates are.
Well, but it's more than that, though, because it's not just his candidates; it's the guys on the list who weren't his candidates the last time around. So there's a whole bunch of new people that have come up into the reckoning as well.
And Seymour might not believe the things that a lot of his supporters or even his own members believe, but he's encouraged it so much that he hasn't really got anywhere to turn. And I just wonder what his reaction is going to be like to that. I don't think like anti-vax COVID conspiracy stuff is really his bag. I've seen him push back against some of these guys and street corner meetings and that sort of thing. But now they've coalesced around his party in a way that I don't think he really knows how to solve.